Welcome back to Frenemies, the podcast where sales and marketing talk. I'm Julia, I'm marketing, and I'm talking to
the sales guy, Ahmet.
And before we get started on today's topic on how to land your first job in sales and marketing, I actually want to get your feedback on something. I don't know if you're aware of this, but our listeners have coined the term Jumet, which is when you're not fully Team Julia and not fully Team Ahmed, then you're Team Jumet. What do we think of this, Ahmed? Do we support people not making a decision, or do we want them to be sales or marketing?
Yeah, at the end, it's like our goal is to create an alignment between sales and marketing. So it's like when people don't take sides, because right now it's like everyone takes sides on something. So just like don't take sides on us. Maybe a little bit more. So it could be like 56% sales, 44% marketing, or 60% sales, or 40% marketing. But don't take direct sides, like not
I see
100%.
what you're
Yeah,
doing there.
I have to say that. So that's why peace in the world. This is really important for sales and marketing people. Don't fight over us. It's like don't say, I'm side of Julia. Who the hell are you? I'm on the side of Ahmed. It's like, we don't want to cause something like this. So it's just like that's why it's really important to have peace and choose sales a little bit more. So this is what really matters.
I think a good 70% marketing and 30% sales is where the answer lies. But so what we want to talk about today is how to land your first job, which of course can be tricky. You're coming maybe straight out of university, or you're changing from a different career path and want to get started in sales and marketing. So yeah, we have some tips and advice. Obviously, we started at one point somewhere and somehow, so we're going to talk a bit more about that. Cool. So, what is your first advice for people that want to get started in sales?
Don't give up. It's like it's like especially there are two sides. It's like when you are, let's say, after graduation, you want to get your first job, and so you want to switch your careers. It's two different thing. So when you are first after when you graduated from the business school, I don't know, it's like, or you just wanted to, you are good with people, you want to work in sales. The first thing that you have to do is stay patient, because especially in times like this, companies who are hiring, which are hiring, are really picky. They choose their sales team, and it's really important to it's like get informed about sales, talk to people. It's always the best way to network. Start networking. It's like it's not for just to find the job, it's for the long-term benefits. You can see here, it's like I am a guy who really likes to network with people, and look where we are. It's our 12th episode with Julia because I sent her a message on LinkedIn. So you never know which door, how many doors will be opened through just sending just a message through to anyone. And I was like, anyone that is necessary, even just it's basic SDR. It's like even myself helped so many people to land interviews and jobs. Even I picked my colleagues at big interview. I recommended them, and then I started working with them. So that's why first thing, so you have to start learning about sales, start networking, and be patient about your first applications.
No, but so you're making a really good point with the networking, and I mean I think that goes very much also on the level we're at, right? I mean, networking always helps, and you never know what connections are going to lead to. Sometimes it's also just getting inputs and
Yeah.
things like that. But of course, also when you're trying to land a new job or land your first job, networking helps. But I think, especially if you don't have like that much experience, networking can be very intimidating because you think, what do I have to say to these people? What do I have to bring to these people? And also, networking is a skill.
Yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see that, like, I felt so uncomfortable having small talks when I started my career, when I was at networking events or at conferences, and now it's something completely different, right? Because you kind of build up that experience. But where would you advise people to start networking? Is it like digitally, or would you say like go to physical like events, or what would your advice be there?
Actually, it's like time. LinkedIn is a great resource to use that because it's like sometimes some people are in more, it's like disadvantaged locations. Like it's like they're like in Nigeria, for example. So they cannot. The job that they want to get is from the U.S., but they cannot go directly to US to those events. But also locally, if you are living in a big city, for example, like Munich, yeah, like Copenhagen, like Istanbul, there are tons of events every day. Just find the right website. Like there's a meetup or community. There's tons of websites, event websites there. There should be something locally for that. Go there and starting a conversation, it's like by not, oh, I don't have anything to speak about. Actually, you are looking for a job. You want to enter this area, like you want to enter marketing, you want to enter sales. It's a conversation starter, just ask about that, it's like ask about other people, how what they did when they first started looking for a job in sales, for example, or marketing. This is really, they people psychologically, you have to create some uh, empathy through their subconsciousness because they will remember their old days, old struggles, and they will be keen to help you more. And most people, for example, on LinkedIn that I met, they're all nice people. It's like they were not like, it's like I don't want to meet you. It's like you're ashamed of all LinkedIn users or something. I didn't receive any feedback like this. Never. They all like, okay, Ahmed, let's meet. And at the beginning of my networking sessions, and so far I did 188, and I had nothing to offer. I just, was like, hey, I want to exchange some experiences. So I learned from them, and in time, after all my learnings, I started to share my learnings with them, and I could offer some. It's like in time, you also have the ability to pair companies to book meetings for other SDRs, find jobs for other people. So it's becoming a really good, a really powerful resource for you to, it's like land a job or build your whole career. Think long term. Most people when they network, they think like, hey, for salespeople in general, they have this problem like, I need to book a meeting with this company. Why do you think like this? You can get everything from it's like a network, from your network. Actually, when you network with a guy, when you meet with the guy, you can get, because the guy knows other guys, so everyone knows everyone. So in time, when you uh, have a good impression on them, they will definitely refer you to other people. I personally received that, and through that, that's why I think long term. Hey, I want to build my career on sales. I'm pretty sure about it. So add salespeople, talk to them, and in time, they will be, maybe sometimes you will sell a solution that is sold to salespeople or marketing. It's like you have to plan all of these possibilities and go according to your plan in a long term, good, well established plan.
I think additionally also on the networking angle, I mean, there's a lot of mentoring programs and networking, and especially also going to like physical meetups or conferences can also help you meet people where you feel like, okay, they have an impressive like path, they have lots of insights, and maybe they are open to mentoring, and that also happens at different job levels. So for a starter, it can also be really interesting to get the insights from somebody that is very far progressed in their career, and actually learn more of like, okay, how do you go about this track, or how are you more strategically in planning your career and where the next steps go, and of course also connect you with other people. So yeah, I think that's a good point also for marketing. I mean, one thing that is a bit more difficult in marketing, kind of, on how to get started, is that it's a very wide
Yeah, yeah,
field. I
definitely.
mean, marketing can be like creative design work, it can be copywriting,
Yeah.
it can be like, content writing that is more journalistic and involves SEO, it can be product marketing, it's also operations, there's performance marketing. So there's a lot of like, there's a wide field. So I would always advise to at least have an idea of what direction you want to start out at. I think most commonly what I see is, of course, people coming out of university start in a bit more general role like digital marketing manager, or digital marketing specialist,
Mhm.
which is also how I got started. So it's a it's a great way to get started, to then kind of figure out, okay, do I want to stay on this general track, or do I want to specialize in one specific direction? But I think it's really important to consider like your skills, of course, and what you're passionate about and what you enjoy the most. So, do you want to kind of switch between being creative and producing and
Mhm.
executing, and analyzing, or do you want to focus on, okay, I want to work more with technology and with systems or with
Mhm.
product, so I go in that direction, or I want to like focus on the writing part, and want to learn more about SEO, for example. So I think that's always a good start. If you have no idea, you just know you like marketing, which amazing. Then I think a general kind of digital marketing role is a really good way to get started. And I think on the skill side, or at least the skills, I would advise to keep in mind. I mean, I think being structured is something that is needed in, I think, every job, but it's definitely something you need in marketing as well. Project management. So if you have some experience that shows that you are good at handling several things at the same time and you can prioritize, that's always good. And I mean, communication, no matter in what role in marketing you work in, is a massive thing. So
Yeah.
if you have some sort of communication background, as in like, you have written, I don't know, articles, or you have done something in that area, that's also always really good. And marketing is a really, really collaborative department. As like no person in marketing can just function on their own, it always needs collaboration. So I also would always say to, like, focus on like the teamwork skills you have, to be collaborative, because that's
Mhm.
something that's really important.
Exactly. Oh, great insights. Actually, I will show them because job hunt is it's something that you promote. You sell yourself. In a way that you have to promote yourself in a good way that the
That's
employers
why I hate it.
employers will hire you. So it's actually the same thing that you do in sales and by job hunting. So for example, sellers don't apply for jobs; they get the jobs. How? You can actually apply to all kind of profession to that because in other professions they will be more surprised. In sales, and some people do that as well. So you have to really identify. Let's say you created your profile, your CV, everything is fine, everything is looking great, and right now we have tons of tools like so just use ChatGPT to so create something really valuable with exact prompts, and you want to go for jobs. And what most people do, think like what others do. What they do, they go on LinkedIn Jobs and just apply, 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 send in resumes, send in apply. I don't know. It's like sending some mass applications. So the one problem is other 600 people, you will see the other applicants as well. Most of the time it's like 600 applicants. So how you will stand out in those crowd? So there are one thing. So
Sorry, I just quickly need to jump in, because one thing a lot of people aren't aware of, on LinkedIn in the job section, as you say, it says how many applicants it has. But actually, what LinkedIn does, it's just clicks on the job ad. So just general
Oh,
advice,
okay.
don't get scared of that number, because LinkedIn can't actually track how many people really filled out their application. So what that means is just the amount of clicks that this job ad got. So the number of real applicants is lower, and it should never scare you off.
Okay. It's a good insights from Julia. And what I need, what I also did to identify the companies that I want to work. So can I find those type of companies? From Glassdoor, read the reviews of the companies. It's like that they treat their employees well. So okay, so I want to work in those companies with it's like that job openings, like SDR position or any other position.
I need to jump in as well, just because you gave really good advice with Glassdoor. But see, that's where the marketing angle kicks in. Of course, what you can take away from the reviews as well is, because you get an idea of the company culture, you can actually use that in your application. So if you, for example, see that, I don't know, they're very social, or
Yeah.
they're into like this thing, or this is like something that makes their office stand out, you can actually bring that up in the job application to, first of all, show that you fit in there, but to second of like also show that you understand them, and you have information about them, and you're very passionate about working at this specific place.
Exactly. Yulia comes in like time to time, just say one two sentence and goes. Okay, so then what I do, find the hiring manager. If you can find the hiring manager, find the HR related HR for this job. Go directly to them. It's like I always avoid talking to HRs. I like them, but most of the time, if you have some experience, like in some cases, they are some little bit boring. Not much, just a little bit, not much. That's why I just go directly. I add, for example, other team members from the same company. Let's say I want to work in sales. I add other SDRs, AEs. I ask them some questions. Then I add the hiring manager and go, and most of the times the hiring manager is like, I don't know, SDR manager or VP of sales. When it's a higher account executive position, it's regional director. It's like there are some different, you will know who will be the hiring manager, because most of the time they also share it with their network, so they share a post about it on LinkedIn. So I go to the hiring manager with some additional information. Hey, Julia, I talk with John, three other people in your department, and I'm really interested in working with your company. I learned that you sell this to them. So learn what they sell, who they sell, and so learn every detail about the quotas, and how many meetings you should book. It's like the daily activity quotas and everything, and go with all that detail. And you will stand out in a such way, he will directly say, without meeting you, it's like in person, he will say, okay, this guy made his research, so let's give him a chance. And you will just avoid it's like the levels of first meeting with the HR, then additional, I don't know what, capability test, or it's like filling out all the breezy forms with, like, it's like all your education details, languages, it's like all these terrible HR platforms. And you will go directly to the hiring manager. So this is one thing. You can actually do it for every job. So just like identify some companies and work on that specifically, because they companies don't hire just within 1 week or something. Most of the time, when it's two small startups, it could be sometimes like that, but most of the times it takes one month. So the job post is not older, is not that old, like, so when it's 3 weeks old, I would recommend to not do this thing specifically, because you could be a little bit late to the party, because most of the times they have some candidates that are in second and third stage. It is really hard to get in there, make, because it needs time. So your job, think as like this, your job is to find a job. So start it like this. So from the morning. So go on your computer and start make the research, create some uh, cover letters and etc. So it's like it should be like a work, and in time, believe me, it's like everyone will be really surprised from your work in every area, not only in sales and marketing. They will also offer you with a good salary. They will think this guy is not cheap because I want a sales guy like this who made his research. All right. So that's why it's really important to do all those stuff before applying a job. Go directly to the target. Like in sales, you have to talk to the decision maker to in order to get things done faster. So get the deal faster. So this is the same thing in job hunt.
I think you made a really good point with like, connecting with the people in charge at the place on LinkedIn. And if you don't feel ready to do that, I would still recommend to check out their profiles, because what you learn there is, of course, if they're posting regularly, what are the topics they are passionate about? What is their way of thinking about it? And that also gives you a really good kind of feeling for the team atmosphere, and how they collaborate. So you can actually see, are they posting about similar things? Is the manager, for example, posting about how they're treating their team or what their strategies are for things like that? And that gives you really good insights as well that you can bring to the job interview, but you can also bring to your application. So that's something I would recommend. Another thing, if you are passionate about marketing and you want to start in marketing, then follow the companies that you think do great marketing. Follow them, see what they're doing, learn from what they're doing, so you can really, develop your passion and also learn how it's happening, and then, connect with the people there. Like if you really love what a company, like the content they're producing, how the creatives are looking, or whatever way you're looking at it, connect with the people there and tell like the head of marketing or whoever it is where you would like to start, like, I really love what you're doing. This and this inspires me. If you ever have an opening, please let me know. Or just send, here's my CV. And I know at the beginning this seems like really, really intimidating. But do you have nothing to lose in that? And also, it's not invasive. You're not, it's a networking platform. You're not stalking someone. You're just basically reaching out and saying, hey, I think it's cool what you're doing, and I would like to work for you. And there is nothing negative or bad about it. So that's definitely, I think, also a way to go about it. And to be honest, like this passion for marketing and how marketing is done is something I always ask applicants in job interviews. I always ask, who do you follow on LinkedIn? Who do you think does great marketing? Because for me, it's just like, if you don't follow any companies on LinkedIn, or you can't name one company that you like, did something great that you can remember, then my takeaway from that is that you're not that passionate about the field. And no matter like kind of your skill level or your personalities, I always want to have a team that is passionate about what they do. And that is marketing and not sales.
But one thing, it's like if you don't follow Julia Hartwig on LinkedIn, this is a big problem for her. She will not hire you. Okay, so this is it's like the way of expressing her opinions because she posted regularly on LinkedIn. So that's why if you are passionate about marketing, so you have to follow her on LinkedIn in order to get a job. And for sales, you have to follow me.
Thank you for this. Thank you for this promo corner. I actually did not pay Ahmed for for saying this, but I really want to say that also engaging with content is a really good point to get started. I had last week actually somebody write to me like, by the way, like this post, was really inspiring. I brought it to a conversation with my manager, and we actually changed our approach. And of course, that like stays with me, and it's first of all like, oh, cool, like it does actually make sense what I'm doing, and I can help somebody. But of course, it also means if this person would ever contact me and say, by the way, I'm looking for a new opportunity, of course I would be more open to that, because I know, okay, they understand what I'm doing, and they, can take something away from it. So that's also a really good way to connect, to really just, let people know, if you think they're doing great things and you learn something from their posts, let them know and reach out. You stay like top of mind of people that, could bring you an opportunity at one point, even though that might not always be tomorrow.
Exactly. So let's say, okay, we applied for a job, we got invitation for an interview, first stage with an HR. What should a marketing interested job seeker should say?
I mean, in my experience, the first interview, especially if it's with HR, is always often kind of like just a checkup thing,
Yeah.
right? Does this person hit all the boxes, and are they actually like interested? So in sales, you would of course, call it a qualification, right?
Yeah.
So I
Qualification.
mean, for that, just yeah. So for that, just like read the job description and be able to say how you fit into that. And I don't think, and of course that depends very much, but if you come straight out of university, most likely you can't hit all of the
Yeah.
boxes. Most likely you don't have the experience level they want, because you only had like a student assistant role or something like that. You might not be able to hit all of the boxes, and that's completely fine. So focus on the things you do bring to the table. Focus on, this is the skills these are the skills I have. This is what I can do. And yes, I might not have experience with this specific CRM or this specific system, but I even that out by being a really fast learner. And I love technology because I'm Gen Z, and technology is like an
Easy
extension of my
peasy.
hand. So no, but I mean, it is very much, I think, both the sales and marketing approach, right?
Yeah.
Like focus on what you do bring instead of focusing on what you might not have. Because most of the times, no matter what job level you're at, there will be requirements on the list that you don't bring to the table, and that is completely fine. I mean, what a company is doing in a job application is writing down like
Yeah.
their dream, right? But then there are so many other things that are important, like personality. Like if you have, passion and drive, that evens out for a lot of the things that are on the checklist.
Yeah. I can give you a quick tip about that. So what I do, what I realize actually within the interviews, you don't have to, one thing, if you are too needy, it's like what people want, what HRs want, they don't want someone to be that cocky, okay? But they don't want someone who is needy as well. So like, I'm so passionate about sales. I want to do everything. I will work hard. Come on. It's like, I don't want to give the example yet, but it's the same thing. So when you are too needy, people are, tend to refuse you more about stuff, ignore you more. So what I do in those cases, I make like in a good sales call, like in a good demo, I make them speak. I ask questions about the company, and I make them think. It's like question like this. Let's say you hired me after 1 year. What should I have been achieved? You made them realize that okay, to think that okay, we hired Ahmed. What should he achieve? They always say this. It's a good question. Definitely, because they need time to answer that, to think about this. But you put the idea of hiring you in their head. And also, I was like asking all these questions, you can actually finish it up in 20 minutes. You don't have to talk 1 hour. Okay. And it's like you don't have to focus on, if you don't know something, or so if you have some, especially after new graduate, you can easily avoid these type of stuff. Like you can show expertise by not showing any expertise. This is why just ask some, it's like you will make some research about CRM systems, right? You can ask some specific questions to HRs. It's like, how do you, I don't know, utilize HubSpot? You will see like HubSpot CRM, let's say, which CRM you use, or like, it's like, what are the quotas? Asking some specific question about sales, because the hiring manager actually normally will answer those questions they will feel underqualified. You know, it's like, hey, this guy needs to talk with the hiring manager, not me. And he's looking, nice. So always be nice. So in sales, if you want to work in sales, you will be nice. I'm pretty sure of that. For marketing,
No, everywhere.
well,
Nobody wants to work with assholes. Just generally
yeah,
be
yeah, just
nice.
just be nice and ask some questions. And at the end, believe me, after 20 minutes, they will say, Ahmed, it's like the next meeting with our hiring manager. They will not say we will call you back. We will talk with other candidates. They would just say, hey, let's arrange the next call with the hiring manager. I need to talk with him. And I will give him a really good advice and really good review of you. Oh, thank you very much. And make a connection.
But I think the point you're making doesn't only go for like the first interview with
Yeah, of
HR.
course.
Just in general, I would always say bring
Yeah,
questions, because questions show that you are a critical thinker, that you think independently, that you have experience because you have thought about it, and that you are prepared. So always to every interview, bring questions. But of course, specifically for interviews with the team, with the hiring manager, bring questions relevant to the job and what the company does. So I always have a look at their website, of course, at their profiles, basically anything I can get my hands on, right? But it's good if you spot things on the website that don't make sense to you, then you can bring that to the interview and you can ask. And you can say, I was wondering, on the website it has this headline, but then on this other page it has this headline. What is going on there? Or however much you want to go in depth. And actually, this is something also for your application, especially if you are, it's your first job. I would recommend to add to an application an example of what you can do. So, for example, you could just outline, this is how I would change this landing page. This is my idea for a campaign or something like that. Because even though at this level they don't ask about it, what you're showing is that, again, that you are passionate, that you have experience and skills that enable you to do that job and to hopefully excel at that job. So it is a lot of times about going a bit the extra mile, and of course, you might only be willing to do that for jobs that are your dream jobs. But at the same time, I mean, ideally, you do land that dream job and not just a job, right?
exactly. It's nice so far. I have nothing to add for now. Do you have anything, Julia?
I just want to give a small motivational speech at the end. No, but all of the things we outlined, I think sound like a lot of work.
Yeah,
And let's not shy away from it is. It is. Because it's tough, especially in this economic climate right now. It's not the same.
exactly.
But that's why it's really important to know what you're doing it for and to go the extra mile and put in the work, because that is actually what will make you successful. Not hitting the apply button on LinkedIn 50 times, but actually, trying to
Exactly.
stay top of mind and reach the right people, at least if you're really, really passionate about the job. So no matter what job experience you bring, do that. And don't sell yourself short. I mean, that's definitely
Exactly.
something I have done for a really long time in my career. But especially when you're new, you kind of feel like I know nothing and there's so much to learn. And that's a good kind of feeling to have, because there most likely is, because there is at every level. But always be aware of what you do bring to the table and what you do have.
Exactly. So yeah, you have to do what you have to do. So that's all mine now.
Exactly. And with
That's
these
simple.
wise words, we say goodbye for now and talk to you next week, Ahmed.
Bye bye.